Hello everyone. Very good evening to all of you. We will be starting the session shortly. Hello everyone. We will be starting the session in the next 5 minutes. We'll first address your doubts. We have received a lot of queries. So we will be addressing that and then we will start today's session, which will be taken by Tripura Sundari, who is from IBM, and she will be taking Masterclass 3 of Data Analytics Internship. So please wait and please ask your team members to join through YouTube, as we have already reached the limit for today's meeting. And so please ask all your teammates to join on YouTube link. We have already shared the link on the group as well. So yeah, so please share it with them. All the team leaders, please share it with your team members. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Hi, Anita. Can you hear me? Anjali, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Hi, hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good evening, and probably good morning from wherever you are. I hope you all are doing very well. And thank you all for joining this discussion about data science with Python, how we'll do analysis with Python. Okay. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. So I see some messages coming up in the chat. So thank you so much. So we will get started. And so can you all, we will probably start with, yeah, I see some questions as well. So in the first just to begin with, what I would like to do is ask from your expectations about this session, but with the consideration that this is going to be about data science with Python. So first, do you have any prior experience with Python? Yes or no? Can you please ping that in the meeting chat? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay, some say yes, and yeah, that's fine. Yeah, all right. Okay, it's been a mix, so it's fine. And then, so, okay. And I hope you have had some introduction to data science. What is data science in itself, right? Can you answer that question now? Whether you had a discussion or had some introduction to data science with, not necessarily with Python, but what actually is data science? Can you please help to answer that question? Whether you had an introductory session and you are aware of, okay, what will data science involve? So why do we have to study this? And that too, this is being called as probably one of the most sought after technologies in this in the current times. Right. Some people say gain insights from data, and some people said, someone said people who make a train model after analyzing the data. That's very good. Yeah, to predict something based on previous standard data, correct. Yeah, there's one generic statement which is very good actually. Everything around this is collected in some form of data. Yes, that that is that data may be in different forms, that's structured and unstructured. Yes, that's right. So yeah, so we will have a quick introduction probably to what data science itself is. So it's all about, as one of the members said, we have data all around us, from the temperature of the day at different time of the hour, the to things that happen in the world. Well, there's no two to this, it's basically endless. Everything that's happening in the world is some form of data in itself. Well, it depends on how it is being used, whether it's used for a, what is the benefit we might get out of using that data, right? Yes, that's right. So many of us say that, many of the members here say that it's used for analyzing and getting some predictions. Yes, that's true. There are different ways in which we use data science. We perform data science and we use that, we apply data science. So first we will get started and try to understand what actually data science is, right? And what all we have to do for it. And yeah, and how do we go ahead with it? So how do we work with the data? Beyond that, how do we see? It's not, data is huge, right? It's really, typically data can be a small sentence, it can be a very small unit, entity of data, or it can be as huge as millions and billions of records, right? Yes, I can yeah, I can share my video as well. Just give me a second. Okay. My video visible? Okay, yeah, thank you. I'm fine. Yeah, all right. So we will share, I'll share my screen rather. So yeah. Yeah, I'll just quickly share my screen here. Let me know if you're able to see it. And if I switch screens, I will let you know. And if you're not able to see it, yeah, let me know that as well. Okay. Yeah. So I will let you know by the time I switch screen to some other window. And if you're not able to see it, probably you can highlight that. Okay. All right. I'll probably stop my video while the screen is being shared. Okay. Yeah. Let's focus on the presentation here and what the content of this discussion. All right. So we are going to talk about the so the agenda is very high.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption. Yeah.
No problem. I have unmuted myself. All right. Thank you. So we will probably talk very high level. What is data science? What is data analytics? And the different tools that will be used for the data science, and what are the steps in data science. Then we'll talk about Python. Okay. Yeah, and we will probably cover these sections here. All right. Basically, you can say that data science is it's a process. The actual definition what people have given is, the experts have given is, it's a process of exploring, analyzing, and manipulating data to solve business problems. So exploring basically will be identifying, to solve a particular problem, identifying what all kinds of data probably will be required. And then, you have to, for that, you need the domain knowledge. So if I'm in a healthcare industry, then I need to know if a particular, a patient is suffering. I see that some patients are suffering from heart attack, then I need to know what all could be the reasons possibly that I probably can relate to that might be causing this problem. And I can also collect some additional information which might also be causing the problem, which is prevalent in that situation, right? So exploring basically means collecting, identifying the data that will be required and collecting it. Analyzing will include the step of first cleaning the data, then sorting and normalizing the data, and arranging the data in a way that is required, then performing analysis on top of that and identifying the patterns. So manipulating is basically, it's included in the analysis part itself in a way, as per the process, it comes before the actual analysis. We need to manipulate the data in some certain way because the data may not always be accurate. We might probably get some, because data is not always collected in a perfect way. Not everything happens very perfectly in the world, right? So there may be some errors in certain data that we might have got collected. So there may be some missing data. We may have to, see what will be most suitable for us, and we'll have to take that or correct it. We have to perform some actions, and then we analyze the data, then see how we can apply this information, what patterns we can make, what inference we can make out of these, and what does this decipher, what does this describe, all this to solve some kind of a business problem. When we don't, in what way can it help us? That's what we do in data science. So for doing this, a lot of mathematics and statistics, probability. I think you might probably be studying. You might have studied probability in your high school, and probably in your college you might be doing that as well. And programming skills are required to generate the insights. The insights that come out of the data as part of the analytics, and as part of the machine learning and artificial intelligence, etc., etc. These mathematical, statistical aspects will really be very, very helpful. Okay, because those have been done based on analysis, and by certain experts, have scholars who have done extensive research about how a specific pattern of data, how that, in what is the relationship between certain variables in this kind of a in this kind of a progression, etc., etc. So that way we will be using a lot of these mathematical and probability statistical functionalities in data science at a higher next level when it comes to machine learning and so on. When we come to the insight, coming up with the insights and also the predictions and so on. See, the main reason why we need to do data science is basically because if it was something very simple, then probably we will be able to tell, we will be able to predict it easily, identify it very easily. So the volume of data is very less. But when the volume of data goes beyond our human capacity, like millions and millions of data records available, we cannot, our human mind does not have the capacity to analyze that much volume of data with that level of complexity. But now modern day tools are actually available for this purpose. Okay, so that's one of the main benefits here is the tools that are useful for data science they are also applicable for less volumes, which some basic tools like Excel can also do. But these tools are much more extensive, and they can actually perform their volumes of they can handle high volumes of data, which other utilities like Excel, etc., cannot do. Excel will just hang. It will not be able to perform if we have lakhs and lakhs of records. But tools like Python and some other tools that you'll see, they will be able to easily handle a huge volume of data. Okay, so when we look at the whole process of data science, what happens? So first step here, how does it flow? Like, what do we do say there's data science? As you all might have a project assigned to you, or you might want to choose a project on your own. So how do I proceed? Right? That is the first question. What should we do in the project? I think this question was actually posted by a few people in the chat. What should we do in the project? Well, I do not know directly on that project perspective here. I probably not at this point of time. Probably you have to choose your own project, or you are given a topic, or whatever to be the case. What should a data science project involve typically, right, in real time? So in reality, that is. So first thing is the business understanding. We have to understand the business here. What is a problem statement? If you have a problem statement and looking at solving that problem, or whatever be the case, you need to have, if you're doing some analysis, you need to have a purpose to it, right? You need to have a goal. Okay, I want to do this kind of analysis and say how this works and in what way I will help this. So, I mean, that could be anything. Whatever I mentioned in this particular statement can be anything, right? In whichever domain, whichever industry, whichever field, whatever you take, you need to understand what is happening. You need to have some different understanding of that particular domain. So let us say I am dealing with I work for an automobile industry. I in manufacturing trade. So I need to know like how many cars need to be distributed to different dealers across the world. So I need to know how are the cars distributed. I need to know where are the cars held up. I need to know where are the cars, what are the locations, what are the different cities, which the cars which are manufactured in one country and they travel across the world, right? The cars are also imported, let us say. So from where is it manufactured? Where does it have to go? Which country does it have to go? Through which all locations, it can't just jump over. It has to go through certain other countries as well sometimes, right? What are some cities, it has to go through certain cities. It may have to go in the ship, it has to go in the train, it has to go in the truck, or sometimes the customer will say, that somebody else will come and pick it up from one place to another. Everything I need to know about that particular industry, the business, that is the industry itself. Whichever that, everything, anything and everything can actually be fit into some kind of industry, right? Whether it's I would say whether it is profitable, non-profitable, or that has an expense or not, whatever that is, financially it has any involvement or not, anything and everything can be fit into some kind of a domain, and you need to have certain understanding of the very good level of understanding of that domain very, very well. So if you are very good at cars, you know how the cars work, how cars are manufactured, things about parts of the car and so on, then probably that might be helpful to you. I mean, if you're looking at choosing a project, anything, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what is the topic given, but make sure that you know very well what all happens in that particular domain. Okay. Then, like what happens first, what happens, the entire cycle, the functionality, that's what we call it, the functionality. You should be able to have that. You should have that understanding very, very well. Now, when it comes to, then you need to have the data understanding, understand the data. So what all data is given to you, what all you need to collect, you may have something what is very much required, may not be really available there. You need to make sure that it is collected, it is made available to you. Okay, some dependent parameters may be required for that purpose. So you need to ensure that it is collected. But then you need to go back and say, okay, is this sufficient for me? Is there anything else that can influence my results? So go back, try to understand the flow. So you have to go back. The data collection and the business understanding, they are like, they have to be almost like parallel. Like you have to understand the business, collect data more. You see something missing, go back, understand the flow better, try to see if anything else is required, and try to fit in and add the try to analyze the data. And I mean, start understanding what is it. So, for example, you will have to some missing data. You'll have to collect and so on. We'll be doing in the next step probably the data preparation step. So, in the data preparation, what you will be doing, you will be cleaning the data, as we discussed some time back. Data will not always be very all perfect. Like everything is available. There's no missing record. There's no incorrect value. It will not be like that. There will be some error is human, right? Even machines make mistakes at times. There are bugs in applications. Sometimes the record data that may be in the system may not be correct. Something might have gone wrong, right? This is very common. It happens. But if such data comes and we start working on those data, then our analysis becomes faulty. Analysis becomes faulty, right? We can't. The basic thing here is data itself, or in data science, it's kinds of data. What does it say? What do you infer from the data? What can you further take? What can you do with it? It will tell you what next action. What does it tell about what is happening? Whatever it is, it's all about data itself. So that has to be correct. So we need to prepare the data to make sure that we are working with the right set of data, which will contribute towards our analysis, right? Yeah. Then then as part of that itself, we will also have the analysis also, right? So the modeling comes in like when you actually work on the data, and find some insights, and then you find the insights, right? So data preparation and modeling together, you can say actually you have to do in both. You will have to do a lot of analysis. Okay, you have to identify what's the pattern, what are the data patterns, and so on. Then in evaluation, you will have to evaluate the data. So we know the training models and test models, right? Training data set and test data set. So what we do, we use the data to train. We analyze the data, understand what pattern it is. Based on our knowledge, we try to apply a specific specific statistical method or so on, and try to understand the fit in a pattern. And then once we fit in the pattern, we try to see whether it works, if that fits correctly or not, right? So we will try to use the available data set and try to fit that into our model, right? We try to identify a model, we try to fit that in, then the model, and get the relationship. And but the same model also has to work on data which is not known to us, isn't it? Right? The data we have, it is not like whatever is data is available, I have used it. No, you have to make that model in such a way that it works for any set of data available, even in the same situation, in a similar situations at least, right? So you have to evaluate it, test the model. We do that to evaluate whatever the analysis we have done, the models we have prepared is working correctly or not. Then once we confirm that the model is working correctly, then we go to the deployment mode, where we say, so use this method formula, that it's like use this pattern, etc. to fit you for this particular business problem. Use this specific formula or whatever you call it. It's a little algorithm actually to say this to avail a specific result. Okay, then also you'll have to, this is a cyclic process, as you can see here. The cyclic process is given here because this has to go and repeat. You have to further up, once the model is deployed, you see more results coming up. Sometimes we have to tweak them and readjust our models. So this is a cyclic process, and we have to keep continuing in this. So the process of understanding the model data, understanding the business first and the data, then preparing and cleaning up and analyzing the data and identifying a specific model to it, training and testing the model. And then once that model is tested and works well, the probability of, not the probability, it is the percentage of how very well it works, it fits well. That will, based on that, if you have a higher percentage, then you can go ahead and deploy the model and maintain it, check whether it works well for future. Like say, for example, in I would say, when COVID happened, right? Most of these models would not have, the businesses went down, some sales would have gone down. A lot of sales in many big companies also from everywhere. All of the industries were impacted. Some were benefited, some, frankly speaking, it is fortunately, or it's very unfortunate as well, definitely, that this overall thing happened. But this, different industries behaved in different way. That was like all of a sudden it happened. So that was not that would not have fit, that set of data would not have fit into a model. Then we have to adjust, right? We have to adjust and tweak in certain situations how. So we have to keep following a cycle here. All right. So again, in data analysis, what we do, we discover, it's more like what we discussed previously, discovery and communication of meaningful patterns. Discovery is what some part of what we'll be coming today, to some extent. We analyze the data, then we identify the meaningful patterns, based on analysis, we identify the patterns that we find in the data, and we also have to communicate it, right? See, if this is say okay, fine, I have analyzed this data, but I'm not the decision-making authority, I may not always be the decision-making authority of a particular organization. I have to communicate it to the people who are going to use the use those insights, or they're going to make some meaningful decisions about those insights, right? So I need to make sure that it is visually communicable. That is, it is made clear what is that data infer, huge volumes of data, millions of data. What does this actually infer? What meaningful that should trigger some kind of a meaningful decision to solve a problem. For that, I need to communicate that to somebody like the CFOs and etc., the CXOs. We have to communicate that information to the the management, right? So to do that, they won't be able to tell, like, if we have high volumes of data and say, okay, the mean is like this. This is the mean value of so and so, all this is such volume. It is this value, so we have to do this. We can't. That's not the way it will be taken up. We have to show the data in a clear and understandable way, in a quickly understandable way as well, right? It should not take time for us to understand what is the inference itself. So that the communication of the data, that is why we use visualizations of different types of charts and so on. Not just charts, how is the data communicated? How is it put forth so that people look at the information, they just looking at it on the spot, they know what is the problem, right? Instead of they will be able to decipher information or the inference from just by visually looking at the data, visual representation of the data. So these are not static charts. You have dynamic charts which change over as and when the data changes and so on. So those kind of charts can be done with tools like Python, all the data science tools basically. Yeah. So that communication is very, very important. And yeah, as we discussed, the collection, transformation, and organization of data in order to draw conclusions. What do we do here? We draw conclusions, we make predictions, and drive informed decision making. So that's why we need to communicate. We do the analysis and we communicate that information so that informed decisions are being made by the concerned people. So as we discussed, so I will probably take up this last statement here. Data visualization. We need to visualize the data to communicate the insights. So in data analysis, you can actually classify it at a high level into 4 types. Okay? Descriptive analysis, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive. So what is descriptive analysis? Description is what you can't describe something which is, describe is something which is already there. You see what happened, what actually happened that time. You describe it. A specific situation happened, what happened at that time, that you are going to do a descriptive analysis. Okay. Diagnostic analysis, in this case, you give a reason. You do a diagnosis and you give a reason for why something happened. In the predictive analysis, you say prediction is telling what is going to happen in what might likely happen in the future, right? So predictive analysis will tell you, in future, in this particular month, this is likely to be the level of the amount of sales that this company is going to make. Like that, you can say something about what might happen in the future. And in the prescriptive analysis, we say, what is a recommendation? If prescription, the doctor gives you a prescription to tell you, he recommends this medicine to you, right? Like that, what is the best action to take is the prescriptive analysis. In the given situation, that is the prescriptive analysis. Okay. Yeah, data at a high level, can be actually classified. We can say it like this. I got this from the source this given here. So the data will be at a very, very high level. We can say categorical data or numerical data. Okay, whatever data you got it is. You can actually further classify here. I will probably go with the categorical and numerical value to start with. The remaining ones, they are at a more higher level, so I'll probably stop it in this level here. Numerical values are values which we get like numbers, price, percentage. Those kind of values are all number, integer or float based values, or percentage based values. Those kind of things are numerical data. They always have numerical representation of the data item. Categorical variables are basically categorical or qualitative variables data. Basically, these represent something which has a specific value. I mean, you have a limited set of value. It can be only this much. They're like not non-number, text or string. You can say based values you will have for that data. So at a very high level, we need to know these terminologies in data science before we start with doing any analysis. I'll probably try to make it a little bit quick here. We have to walk through a lot of exercises. So that's coming up. So I'll probably try to close it in this quickly here. So in an independent, we need to know these are the very, very basic at a very high level. These basic terminologies have to be known if you're working on data science. So what is independent variable? The independent variable is basically, it's a entity in your data that is not dependent on something else. You have got it. That is, so let us we have an example here. See, you are doing some kind of a health analysis, something related to some analysis related to the health of a person or some people or whatever it is. In that, you have been given the list details of patients. You have to do some analysis. What is the patient name, address, phone number, etc. Then what is the height, weight, etc. Heartbeat rate, pulse rate, ECG details, etc., etc. Whatever that is. No, I'm not a healthcare person, so I'm not very sure. But definitely, a lot of other parameters have been given, and you have to do some analysis. Okay, you have to do some kind of a analysis and say what, and try to infer some relationship between these patients and say what could likely cause certain health problem or what could likely help to solve a treat a health problem and so on. In that case, how does the name of a person really relate to? It doesn't, right? Now, on the other hand, if you take another variable, what is a dependent variable? Dependent variable is actually but if you take another thing like height, weight, any other the gender of the person also can be taken as an independent variable because it does not depend on anything else. Other parameters may be dependent on the gender. You can actually take gender as a good example in here. Okay, gender is important for the analysis, right? But the gender is not dependent on anything else. Other parameters require a gender. So the gender here will be a parameter for the analysis, whereas in the dependent variable, you can say that the other parameters, some other parameters, they are influence this one. So this value is dependent on the other independent variable. So, for example, the height and weight, the women have a higher different set of values for height and weight, are the body mass index and so on. And so let's take the body mass index. It depends on the gender, right? So gender here is actually an independent variable, whereas the body mass index is actually a dependent variable. And the weight is also. Yeah. Okay. And then categorical variables and categorical variables are something for which you have a specific set of values. For example, you can take state of a particular country. You have only specific states in a given country, right? That will not, that it can't keep increasing or decreasing, and you will have specific, it can't have some other values, a random set of values. I mean, it cannot have totally different values. It has to be certain set of values only. Like, for example, you can also say in the face of the dice, right? You have, how many faces are there? At least 6 faces in the dice. You can't have a 7, right? Like that. These are limited and fixed values, okay? Okay, so there are some tools which are available for data science which have been given here. So what are the relational data science tools? Databases. Databases are very important, though they are not mandatory, but they are high. When you have high volumes of databases, storing the data in the databases and retrieving the data stored in databases and performing analysis on that is one of the most common things. So so the database also should be able to cater to high volumes, and it will be for such and also good for retrieval, data retrieval, fast retrieval, and so on. So that certain data science database tools which are commonly used, and the tools like Jupyter Notebook, which RStudio. These are all open source tools, and the commercial tools like for data science would be like Tableau, Microsoft Power BI, IBM Cognos, Analytics, and what. Okay, now we'll get into Python. We are already 30 minutes past. We started around 30 minutes late, I suppose. We have covered this in 30 minutes. Let's try to cover quickly as possible, but going in as much deep as required. Okay, so in Python, so say Python is actually a general or multi-purpose programming language. Like, means what? It's actually used for multiple purposes. Like, you can use it for data analysis, which we are going to do now. We can also do web development in Python. Any software development like logic, you can have whatever in any software like Java, etc. Right, where you can apply a lot of logic. That can also be done. You have a lot of more functionalities that can be done by Python itself. So as of 2019, it was found that 80% of the data science professionals in the worldwide, they had used Python as a programming language for their analysis. Okay, so installation. So for those who have not had any prior experience, you can go to this particular website that's given here. I can give this link here. Yeah, I think a screen sharing has stopped, so I'll probably share it again. Okay. I'll keep it this way. So I'll post this on the chat. Just let me know if you're able to see my screen now.
Yes, we can see it, Tripura. We can see it.
Yeah. Somehow, I mean, I don't see the option for sharing all the windows. All right. Yeah, you can use this download link. Download, go to the, as of now, the 3.10 is the latest one. You can, depending on the operating system you use, you can download the version and install it. Then if you, once you install it, you'll have something like this. You know, if you, once you install it, you'll be able to see this Jupyter Notebook, and then you'll be able to see a window like this, you know, in your local environment if you're using it. Okay. And then you will have, you can click on this create a new file and save the file as .ipynb, and you can use it. Okay, so we'll go to the language for the data science project itself. Okay? For data science itself. All right, I'll just close the screen here. So we have integers. What are it? Has integers, floats, strings, booleans, etc. It also has the basic data types, which we might probably have in Java. So can you quickly type in what all programming languages? Can you please quickly type in the chat what all programming languages you have learned? Can someone see? Okay. Any other can you please tell me what, like good, somebody has
yes. So Bharat is saying Java, Python, C. Mervis is saying C++. No
issues. Yeah, that's fine. Thanks, Anjali. I'm fine with that. I'm fine. Yeah. So a lot of people have actually learned Python itself, so that's fine. Yeah. Good. But let's see how much. Let's see how. I hope this session will be useful for you as well. Good. But there are some people. I mean, I definitely see that other languages are there. So as any programming language will have its own data types, we have the same in Python as well. And probably we can just keep going here. Okay, so is my screen visible now?
Yes, you can see it, Tripura. It would be helpful if we can make it full screen. Yeah. So can we please do the slideshow? Slideshow from the current slides.
No, yeah, the thing is, well, that's what actually I had not, I was not sharing that. The new share, I was actually sharing a different screen. All right, yeah, that's why I had asked actually. Okay, at least I will, now I can make out something better. I have shared 2 slides. I don't see the option to select all at one go. I somehow couldn't. I'm more comfortable with Teams. That's what I use on a daily basis. All right. Okay, yeah. So fine. See here, you see how integers are integers, decimals, booleans. These are all booleans, and you can actually run this. And if I say print, I'll say print my decimal here. Integer value, the decimal value, that's how it will be. Okay. And then if you, let's say the type of what does it, how is it taken up? You see type of 1, type of 1.0, this is a string, this is a decimal, then this is a float, and this is true, false, booleans, right? How is it defined? Boolean of, how can the boolean be converted? You can see some examples in here. See, type of 1 is an integer, float, string, because it has a single quote. Then these two are booleans, and this is a class boolean. Okay, this boolean, this is a class object type. Okay, similarly, what will happen when you do the divisions, different types of operations you do? 11 by 2, type of 11 by 2, what is the value? Type is a float. Okay, you can see the result already here. 11, you can see the difference in here. Okay, and then it's a type of, there's a string here. So we have, you can actually try these out with using the type of operation. You can actually try, you try to type the, get the type of the variable. Okay, so these are very basic data types. I'll probably go ahead and go more reports, the more valuable ones. So here we'll look at variables. In the variables, we will see how can string concatenations and strings and all. We will be looking into this here. So you can see here, this is an x is equal to, it's all numbers, right? So it's taken as an integer. We get a 61, the total here. By this is the print method, is the basically to print the value, print something, whatever it is, a string or anything, whatever it is, to print it, it will be, this is the method, print of, and the comma, what to the text before, and the comma, and what to be printed. Okay, and here you can see, so you can see here total, you can do total here, this is equal to 3 plus 2 into 4, 3 plus 2 into 4, etc. So you can see it, basically it's printing certain things. Now let's go back to the numerical operations. A equal to 10, b equal to, a plus b 12. These are the very basic way of how they are represented. Multiplication, division, equal to, or operator, right? This is power operator. Okay, so a we saw as 10, right? So we saw the value of a as 10 and b as 2, right? So a plus b minus b, all its basic bit, fine. This double star is actually the power operator. So 10 power 2. So 10, yeah, just a second. It's not defined. I didn't run it. So yeah, I'll run it first. Then now I'll run it. It's 10 power 2. Okay. So greater than, less than, etc., etc., greater than or equal to, very basic things. Let's do a little bit of the string operations. Okay. So this is, you can actually put the string variable within double quote or also a single quote, but you should not mix. Okay, we should not mix them within a single assignment. So here we are having, just a second. Okay, this is a hello world. Okay, then let me just write this. string assignment, this becomes a number. Okay, so this is a sentence. Now we'll see certain things like things plus the concatenation can also be done. So things is equal to pen plus pencil. So when you say things, it says pen, pencil put together. Okay, now you see this Anand's pencil box is fine. We have not assigned anything to pencil. That doesn't matter. Now I'm giving a string variable here, Anand's pencil. We saw here this is single quote based assignment. This is double quote based assignment for a string variable, isn't it? Here, what actually happened? This S is not supposed to end or start a string. If you have this in between, you will get this error. This syntax is not accepted because this will understand that when you're starting with a single quote, when you put it here, then it doesn't understand what this is, what the remaining part is, right? So it will consider only this much as a string, but what about this one? So it gives this error. If you want to put apostrophe, then you will have to put it with double quote and use this single quote here. Then this becomes a full string. So now Anand's pencil, I want to assign the value of box, something random. So you can see now Anand's pencil comes in when it gets assigned to box. Similarly, Pranav said this is Anand's pencil, and Pranav said it's Anand's pencil. Okay, so on. Pranav said it's Anand's pencil. Now you want to get this different, but this will not work, right? Because this gets over here. This section, it does not know what to do. So this will give error, whereas this will work, right? Okay, so yeah. Okay, now you see how this will you want the single quote, then it's Anand's pencil. You want a double quote within the sentence itself, right? See how it is being done here. All right, so you can see here now by printing in the text, you can also just type in the same thing, it will return the value. It will actually return this thing. So now if I say print text, you see here, it's this came within the single quote. Didn't give it again this thing here, but it's fine. Yeah. Now you want it to print like this, with it's Anand's pencil, and it is, you see how it is printed. In this, when the Python output itself gives us, Python UI itself gives, it will give it for apostrophe bar, the special characters are to be used. It will give it with this, as you can see here, right? But actual value, if you print it, it will be without the special, escape sequence. You can see here. It gets clearly. Okay. Two upper will make it upper, two lower will make it lower. Now, if you want to replace a specific character, you can use a word dot replace of C to F. Car will become par, like that. We can do these operations. Then you can see find. You want to find out a particular letter in the letter word in the letter. So now I put okay. I'll make it car again. Okay, for the turn now I'm going to make it car again. So what did I do? What did I do to just make sure that I have the example, positive example as well? So the word, now I had commented this. I had commented this out to replace the C with the F. Then I made it word is equal to car. I ran this. So the car got assigned to word. Word dot find of to find a particular to locate a particular variable. I've used dot find of C, gives me the index of the letter. It starts from 0. Okay, 0, 1, 2. That's how the index will go, like we have for arrays. So if it finds a letter, but if the letter is not available, it gives -1. Okay. You can use certain. These are all a lot of it's a very easy language. If we know it, we don't have to do a lot of programming. See, this is all small letters. when you make a dot title, the first character of all the words becomes uppercase. So I run this, the book of joy. If I make this capitalize it, the first letter alone becomes capital T. So some simple tips and tricks are available actually. So strip before and after spaces will be removed. Okay. Now I see I have first done the word with strip. Then I've got without the stripping. So this is how the word is, right? This is with some space before and some space later. You can see this. It's that's how it is. But you see this, there's no space, right? So the strip will help you here. Okay, this is called placeholder. You can use this when you want to give inferences and you want to present something where the value is dynamic. Okay, so hi, I want to say with format, I will put these brackets, right? And say, do you know? Okay, so now I feel that I do not know the direct names. This is not static, this is dynamic. These values could be coming from somewhere else. It could be part of a certain other list or so on, right? I might have a list of names and I want to populate them. So the value of that changes. So what I put placeholders like this, dot format of, I pass the variables here. Vignesh, Karthik, and Satish. Now print this, it does, we will see both sentences, okay? And now this is a list, right? So it takes a position of that. First I print the second, the last element, then the first element, and then the second element. You see the differences here, right? The index, the element which I have printed, they are different. This by default takes the correct order, 0, 1, and 2. But for any number of variables you want to have. In this case, when I specify the specific particular index, it takes that particular index of this list. Okay, so you can see, though this content has not changed, the value, the sentence, the output has actually changed, right? So we can make this dynamic. This is quite a good one and reasonably used. Is useful when you want to print something when the data is dynamic. Okay, some conditional operators. These are, I'll try to make this also fast. We'll probably see something better soon. Again, I'll try to make this also very fast. But since some people have not taken, I don't have knowledge of Python, I have to cover this as well. So, so you can say in some conditional operators, A and B, right? A or B, it takes the first one. Okay, C, D, E, C and D returns the second one. And, right? I'll run this. I'll just run this for some examples. And returns the second one. A could and A and B, 10. A or B, the first one. C, D, E. Okay. Now I say C and D turns the second one. D and C. D and C. Now what happens? It turns the second one, 100. Now D, C and E, C, it returns the last one. I don't. All right. Not A. A has some value, right? So it's false. Okay. np.nan. np.nan. This is how we print nan. A is printed as. If I run this, it's not a number value. Okay. Yeah. I'll then we'll do a little bit of indexing. These are all required. They will look very simple, but actually they will be very helpful when we are doing the actual analysis, because we want to tweak the data to get a better analysis, right? For that purpose, this will be very helpful. So I have a word called variable example, and I have set identification to it. Now the example of 2, 0, it starts with 0. So 0, 1, and the 2. So it will give you E. Okay. An index of D. What is the index of D here? It's 0 and 1. So the index of D is 1. Okay. Slicing, you see here, this is also very, very useful one. Now, I have a variable sentence in the word, there's some string, it's a string variable. This is a big sentence with many words. Okay. Now I need to take is alone. I want the word is from here. You know? So what do I do? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth position till the stop. What should be the stop? The index plus 1. I is the position. Here I will take the position minus position 5, not minus, it's 5. Position 5. S is position 6. If this is I5, this has to be 6. But where it stop, you have to start with the index of the first element and stop with the index of the last element plus 1 for the stop position. So, but for stop position, plus 1 should be considered. Okay, so I will now run this. I got is. Similarly, for big, I got 4 plus 1, 5 plus 2, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 11, but the index will become 10 to 3 letters. So plus 3. I get big, right? Like this. So we'll have, this is how we can work with basic string variables. All right. Next, we will probably look at lists. A little bit about lists, tuples, and so on. Little bit we'll see. Okay, we'll see from here. What is list? List in Python is a collection of items which can contain elements of multiple data types. It can have multiple different data types. Okay. Now, it can have numeric or characterological variable values, like whatever. And it can be ordered. It's an ordered collection supporting negative indexing. Like from the end, you can give -1, it will give the last one. So contents of list can easily be merged and copied using inbuilt Python's inbuilt functions. You can lists can be, you can merge it and do a lot of operations. It's very, very helpful. The list versus array here is that, you know, it contains homogeneous element. Okay, but in array, elements are allocated with contiguous memory allocations, and size of an array is fixed. In array, it's actually homogeneous elements, but here it is heterogeneous as well. We'll see the list, and here list, set, tuple, dictionaries, and data frames. Out of these, what you can see here is homogeneous and mutable, that's an ordered collection. Those are all the important items that we need to know here. Okay, so I'll probably directly go into, you can see the differences in here. In this slide, you can see the differences. I've taken this from this particular website here. I found this very useful. So you can see list is a non-homogeneous data structure that stores the elements in a single row and multiple rows and columns. Okay, you can have it that way. And it is, this is the way to represent lists, and it allows duplicates. And okay, and then you can see an example here. I will say this is how list is ordered and it is mutable. Okay, ordered means in a specific sequence, and mutable means it can be changed. Immutable means cannot be changed. Okay, so tuple, it's also non-homogeneous. Homogeneous means same data type. Non-homogeneous means different data type can be allowed. Okay, tuple is also non-homogeneous data structure that stores very similar, but it is represented by this regular open bracket, close bracket. It also allows duplicate elements. You can see that there are a lot of similarities between lists and tuples as well. Okay, what you can see is here is that how to create the list is and tuple is fine. This is immutable. We cannot change, we cannot make changes in the tuple. Okay, so you can't change this. But the list can be changed. The contents of the list can be changed. That is a main difference here. Okay, let's look at set. Set data structure is also non-homogeneous data structure, but stores a single row. Okay, and it is represented like this. and it will not allow duplicate elements. But list and tuple allow duplicate elements. So though they have a lot of similarities, at least there will be one difference between each. The set is mutable, but elements cannot be duplicated. The set is unordered. Okay, the set is unordered. It does not follow a specific sequence. Now, in the dictionary is also, it's non-homogeneous data structure. Okay, it will it can take different data types. This is how it will be represented: flower brackets. You can have anything here. Fine. It doesn't allow duplicate keys. Okay. And then the dictionary is mutable, but keys are not duplicated. The key will not be duplicated. You can't duplicate this specific key. One key value pair is 1A, 2B. Then one is the key, A is the value. So the key cannot be duplicated. But the dictionary can be changed, modified. And the dictionary is ordered. Okay, in this version and above, it can be ordered. It is ordered. And how to create an empty dictionary is like this. But the dictionary is the main, most commonly used structure, data structure that will be represented in a JSON format, and that will be most commonly applicable. Can be easily directly converted to data frames. You can directly map a dictionary to a data frame. Okay, now we will probably go into some more data science into pandas. I'll probably take up pandas here. Yeah, I'll do this. We might probably run short of time, so I'll probably directly go in here. So I will take this one. I would say till now, however it went for you, probably take this as a thing to start with and to learn. It might be helpful for those who are probably beginning. Also, it might, these are something which we have to really look at. Okay, so we are going to use some operations in pandas. We'll take up a particular case. We have a specific, we will see how to clean the data. Okay, we'll see how we can actually clean the data. And we are going to read a file and take the data from there. And then we will try to see what are the values which are really applicable, try to understand the data, see the values that are up there, how can we see that the invalid values are removed, and so on. Okay, then we will try to make some basic operations so that we understand certain, we come to some understanding on that. Okay. Okay, fine. Let's do this. Okay. So I'm going to import pandas. Now I'm going to, in this file, data frame, this is basically this is the content for reading a file. I have here, it's used as a semicolon separated file. We know typically comma is the form of the CSV file. So this is basically to show that we can also use different types of separators, different values of separators. Whatever separator we specify, the system will use that. So I'm going to use semicolon here for just simply. So now this is the way we look at this data. This is actually a table. I'll probably show that table here. Yeah, I think the screen is not being shared now. I'll again come back to it. Just a minute. I understand the screen is not shared. Give me one more minute. 1, then 2, and yeah. So do you see a text notepad ++ screen? Do you see? Do you see something called semicolon daily_price.csv? All right, thank you so much. Thanks for responding on the chat. That was helpful. All right, so all right, so this is a file. So you can see this is a semicolon separated file, the text file. I'll close it for the time being, and I will yeah. So that's the file which we saw. And you can see if that is actually it's a text file, but it can also be this is separated file, right? So it can also be taken up as a Excel. You can also open it in Excel file. Okay. Nevertheless, so now if we look at that file, the content of the file, it is converted into a data frame, and this is how it will look. But here it's a big file. It has, see, you can see that it has 5,557 rows, right? And which we cannot see everything together here. So that's why it's showing the first 5 rows and the last 5 rows. But at any point of time, the dot, you are working on the data frame, and you want to see how does it look, no? To at least are the values, whatever calculations you might have performed, is it looking okay? You want to check that. You can see the by doing the head operation, you can head method, you can actually do you can get the first 5 rows, top 5 rows. Now, if you don't give any value within the head, then it means 5 by default. But you can also specify more. Okay. If you give, I gave 100 here, specified 100 here, and give 100 rows. Now, if you want to take only the 100 rows and convert it into something else, you can put that into another data frame, you can convert it into a file, and you can do analysis, etc., whatever you want to do. But this basically restricts to the number of rows that you want to specify. Head refers for top, that means X number of rows. Tail refers for bottom, X number of rows. So by default, without any value, it will be 5. Otherwise, it will be the number X, whatever number of rows we have given here. Okay, so here we got last 100 rows, the bottom 100 rows. You can see starting with 0, the index is 5,556. Totally 5,500. Okay, so now if you see info basically explains what is there in that file about it. Okay, like what are the columns? Okay, what are the columns? And you can see how many non-null count is there. In the state column, 5,557 non-null values are there. It's an object type, means it's like a string. So you can take a string object at this point of time, whatever object that is, you can leave it. You take it as a string value, a string object of the data type of string. Now here, what does this mean? And how many rows were there totally? 5,557 entries and 5,557 non-null values. So what does it mean? It means there are no null values in this record, in this column, right? This matches this. This will tell you that there are no null values, isn't it? Yeah, this itself, by looking at this itself, we can say that. Now in the district, we have only 5,555 non-null values. Market this many non-null values. That means there are some null values in the column, other columns. Okay, now you also use verbose, it gives really more information, but in this case, the data table is little less, it doesn't satisfy, so it's almost the same. Now let's check this. Are there any null values? Check in this data frame. Are there any null values? Oh, yes, there are some null values. Now what we do, wherever there's a not a number based value, it will remove it. Okay. If there is any non-null inside it, it will remove it. Now let's see, it was 5,557 entries. Now when we print it, we drop NA, drop the not number values, that's like null. Then you see it became 5,447. That means there were some almost like 10 rows maybe, right? 57, right? Before, yeah, something. So they had some null values which cannot be considered for our analysis. So we have removed them. One of the very commonly used values where you cannot accept null value. If something value is null and you can't accept that record, that full record, that row itself cannot be accepted, cannot be considered for analysis, then you better to remove it. I mean, there are different things we can do. We can replace it, etc. But you need to know how to do that. Actually, sometimes people put a mean value and replace it, or sometimes they put a minimum value or maximum value, depending on what is the business depending on the knowledge, on the domain, and what will be more suitable. They will, because sometimes you will have less number of you may not have too many. You may probably have too many invalid records, like some a small part of the records may be, data may be, you might have multiple parameters, or some parameters may have invalid records in invalid values in some of the rows. But if you remove all of them, then you may not have sufficient data to perform your analysis. Then you need to put an approximate data sometimes, whichever is you feel in that situation, in that domain, in that in that concept, whatever that is suitable, you will have to replace it. But in this case, I'm actually going to drop it. I have dropped the rows. Now I'm just trying to say, I'm just going to I'm just printing the data types. What are the data types? Okay. Now, what are the columns actually on the data types? Now, what I'm going to do here is, in the columns, district, commodity, variety, grade, whatever drop, no blank values are there, not null values are there in this string type, I remove them. Okay, see what I'm doing here. And then I print it. Now what happened? There were some blank values in these columns. We have district, as we know, state did not have any blank value or not, not null value, right? All the values were not null and just present. In district, commodity, variety, grade, I have taken this. Yeah, I could have taken market, but it's fine. Whatever, it's already. So we have this many records, and let's run through it. Now what happened? So because we have removed the rows itself, right? We have dropped those rows. We have totally dropped those rows. Drop NV. We've done for those specific columns. We've dropped the rows also where they had null values. So the size became less now, 5,550 entries. But then you see, so now that means out of the 5,550 entries, this state, district, market, commodity, variety, all of them have not same number of ASPIN and grade also have same number of not null values, right? As many rows. That means all values are present. But if you see minimum price, maximum price, and model price, no, something is missing. At least one record in each definitely is missing. That's what it looks like. But we can't say necessarily that one record only. In each, let us see more. We only say by looking at this, we can't say that, okay, if we remove 3 rows, it will become fine. That 5,547, then that will be the number of rows that we have. No, it can be in different records. Let's see how that goes. So now let's type, just simply, now I'm just doing a head to just see, have a look at it. Okay. This is how it looks like. Fine. That's okay. This is how pretty much it was. Now, in the minimum price, see how we are filtering out and removing the, we are basically assigning it to the, replacing it basically with, we know this we know this minimum price is of a float type, right? We saw that it was having of the float type, right? Minimum price, maximum price, and model price was a float type, right? So it can't be negative values, and it we cannot keep a price value of 0 and then work with it. That won't work. We can't have something like that, right? It needs to have a specific value for price. So if there's no value for price, then we don't consider that record. We are now, in this particular case, I'm removing the record. It's okay for me because I have very less number of records where this value is not present. Though it doesn't really make sense that I actually have to, put in some other, put in some other, value like mean or something like that. I don't have to do that actually. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is, it's very less number of records that we have that are likely to have this problem. So I'm going to just remove the values for the min price, max price, and model price where the value is less than or equal to 0. That means wherever there is greater than or equal to 0, only that I'm going to put in my main CSV back. So I do this. This is just a way to comment out. You can just ignore this. This is just a way to comment out. You can use a comment like this. You want the code, but this is a comment. The comment is not actually a comment. Basically, when you put like this, it converts everything inside into a string. So now this has become a string. You can actually assign this to another thing also, but it becomes a string. It's just, for instance, it will not do any calculation or anything like that. So now let's run it as now. Now what happened? So now 5,539 entries are there, and out of which we have 5,539 non-null values in all the columns. And that's how we want it to be. We don't want to work with any invalid value. So I have made it as 5,500 equal number of, as many number of rows have all non-null values in all the columns. So now the data is ready for any kind of analysis. Okay, so actually what I have done is in this particular case, so now we have the actual data set like this. Okay. So what happened is, it so happened, I just took a random file. I want to tell one more thing here. You can, I'm just typing this in here because I'll have to go back and run share and reshare my screen to go back on this. If you go to this website, I'm just typing in, or probably I'll put this in here, the chat, that will be good. So I'll put this in the chat. Check out this website. In this website, it's very, very helpful for, I mean, there are a lot many, but this is one of the more commonly used and probably the best. There are a lot more, and I definitely cannot deny that there are a lot many websites where you get data sets and all that. But if you're starting with data science and you want to take a career in data science, and then this in this website you will get sample data, analysis of previously done analysis. Especially if you look at sample data, you will get for any kind of field. I would say the volume of data that is available is very, very high. You will even have competitions and all that. So one of the competitions in this that was done through Kaggle was the WIDS data science, which I had participated in last year. I submitted a paper for that. So using one of the statistical analysis we had done. All right. So here what we, but that there you will find data sets. I found a, basically I'm trying to say that I just found a sample in the data science, that particular data set for agriculture, this particular sample, but the original file had all the records. So I had to copy it manually in order to demonstrate a file which demonstrates something which where the data is not valid and we have to manipulate it. I purposely modified the file, and actually I made some invalid entries so that I can demonstrate this data cleaning activity. Then I take, but I had done this thing first. So this is basically a copy of the same data, but this has the full data set. Like whatever records I had removed here, you might probably be included here with the correct value. So that's why, but I had prepared it like this, so I let it be as such. So I had used the same file, but with the correct values that were already there. Whatever you see here is actually because I had removed some values to demonstrate this particular data cleaning work. All right, let me go back to this particular. There were basically, yeah, I'll go through this one now. Okay. Now I have DF in the same content, and I have my data frame is DF. Okay, let me leave this thing for now. Head by default 5 rows. Now that's what I've done here. Head of 10. That's okay. That's what is shown here. I'm doing a tail. I can get the last set of records. If I do 100, I'm not going to run this now. We saw it already. So we're doing an info. You can see here the main file had all the valid records valid. So I didn't really do any action on this. So let's take up this one. Describe. What does describe do? Describes the data in the data. Describes the how does the data look like? So totally there are 5,000. The count of records 5,557 records. Okay. Describe actually works more with the numerical data. Okay, that's why you see only 3 columns here, because the remaining columns are categorical data, right? You can see grade, variety, everything is string text, right? Only 3 columns here actually have numerical data. So the describe method will explain about how the numerical data in the data frame looks like. Yeah, mean, standard deviation, minimum, 25 percentile, 50 percentile, 75 percentile, and maximum value of these numerical value based columns. So you can see minimum, there's no zero value. Yeah, there is a zero value also in this. There is a specific zero value. Yeah. All right, let that be. That's okay. For the time being, or we can also use the other data set that's cleaned up. We can also use that data set. All right, that's okay. So another thing that I've done now is you can see one more thing here. There are two columns, the commodity and the variety. You see here, commodity is there, variety is there, and then the grade is there. See, okay. So I have not taken the grade too much into consideration here. I have basically taken commodity and variety together and doing the analysis, because within the state you have multiple districts. Multiple districts have different markets. Each district has different markets. In each market, there are multiple commodities being sold. Under each commodity, there are multiple varieties being sold with specific grade. Okay. So I have not taken the grade into consideration at this point of time. And each item has a minimum and maximum and a modal price. So let this be. Now I wanted to take this commodity along with a variety. I wanted to take the commodity along with the variety together. So what I did, I combined the commodity and the variety columns. You can see now what happened. My df of I have put df of commodity equal to commodity plus variety put together. I have taken. Now then I dropped the variety. I don't want the variety anymore, right? I've already combined the variety into the commodity. So I don't need the variety column now. It's already considered here. Now I have see the data frame. State, district, market, commodity is including the variety, right? Now you can see, and number 2, whatever was there previously, if we look at it, it was what is visible here. Okay, whatever. You can see this value is actually come inside here. You can see rice superfine, right? Rice superfine. Rice superfine, you can see here, that is coming here. Okay. Then now we'll do a group by. This is one of the most commonly used functions in data science, and almost every analysis will definitely have it. So by the state, what is the modal price? But this we will just do a sample. Now this basically is across all products, so we cannot go with this, but this example is basically to show a group by state. But let's look at, this is basically single column model price value group by. Now what is more important is we can't do this cannot be so useful, right? How will it be useful? Different products have different values. How can we combine together and put a common value across it? That's not possible. Let's take this one. That was just to show a single column group by, but you take this by state, by commodity. By commodity, what is the model price? So what is the model price by state? Okay. Now, if I go, that means, what is that means? If I go to Andhra, the black gram value, whatever, approximate this whole commodity will be somewhere close to this, isn't it? The model price we have done with a group by based on the in different markets, we have got this value together, right? Considering different markets, the mean, that too I've taken the mean, the average price of the black gram or urad dal in Andhra is this, considering all the markets. Okay. Yeah. So this is an example which is a very commonly used example for group, which group we have done the group by. now I will be, this is one of the very basic ways of actually doing the analysis here. Okay, but most of the things, this will be very helpful one. So you can get the mean value. Now I have taken mean is equal to now I have taken the mean value. This mean value, what I have done here is, there's no heading for it. Do you see this? There's no heading for it. This is the mean value, right? The third column here, there's no heading. You have state commodity, but the third value does not have a comma. It does not have a heading. How do we assign a heading to it? So in this thing, I have created mean with the values df2.mean, which we got here. This df2.mean is, this is the value, right? So I have assigned this to the data frame 3, and then I register the end. Then after that, what happened? Let's look at this. Now, this is how the data frame looks. Our resulting data frame. Previously, it was not like this. We were having minimum price, model, max price, and model price. But now we have the mean value, that's the average value per commodity by the state, grouped by state. So now this value so for each commodity, we know approximately what it mean by average price of the commodity in each state that we will come to know by doing this exercise. Okay, so now I have just exported this to CSV. That file is there. All right, this we will do a stop it here. Something which I really like. This is one example which I wanted to show for demonstration of the analysis part of it by doing the group by. Then we can do file handling in data science. A lot of methods are available. Everything internet, all the information is available. We have seen the read Excel, read CSV. So we also have. I'll probably go to web scraping to show us an example here. Okay. I'll quickly take up file handling. I think we are running out of short of time as well, but we started quite late also. Just I'll take a minute here. So you can say read Excel. Pandas itself has an inbuilt method to read Excel, as which just like the way we read the CSV file. Here we can also read a Excel file by using these methods. The best thing here is you can choose the columns which you want to import. So you can actually choose what all columns you want to import from the file. Even though the file may have actually more columns, you can still choose what all columns you want to import from that file and of what data type you want to import it and so on. You want to import everything as a string, that's also fine like that. So now I print that Excel, and this is how this Excel will be. This is how the data is present in the Excel file is. So I got that directly into a it has got converted into a data frame directly. This method can be used. All right. So similarly for CSV file. Okay. So the CSV file, now I have, this is another file. This is another file for Excel, and this is for a CSV, which we already saw anyway, which is here I am using comma separated. So you can see here, this is a file, and this is the content of the file itself converted into a data frame. So you can drop the index and then you can make it like this. You can do further operations, etc. I mean, the last row, you can index is equal to 8. The last row, index row 8, I wanted to drop it. I wanted to remove the last row. I don't want this row. It doesn't look meaningful, no? Last row. But this is how the file is. This is the source of this is there in the last file. I don't want this data will not be helpful to me, right? It is the same thing, isn't it? If you look at the original file, that's how it looks like. But I don't want this record in this row, right? So index is equal to 8. What is the index of this row? It's 8. So I dropped this index in the 0th axis. That is, rows are 0th axis, columns are 1. 0 axis 0 and columns 1. So rows is 0. So index is equal to 8. So 8th row, I am 8. The row with the index 8, I am dropping off. So I dropped it. Then see, now the last row is removed, right? Yeah. So this is something which we can do here with respect to file handling. Then I'll go to little database connectivity. You can do, I mean, for each and every database connectivity, you can put in the data connectivity columns. You can write queries and it will query the database tables directly, and you can do that. That's also possible in Python actually. So however, how you write SQL queries, you can write the queries, and Python has libraries to read database through queries. Like you type in the query, it will connect to the database and run the query from the Python file. That's possible. So then I'll probably close it with web scraping. I like this very much, so I would love to tell this. Whether it's really part of it or not, I really like. And I think this is very, very helpful. Probably this web scraping will have a lot of scope in future, right? Because there's a lot of information on the internet, and it's not possible for people to directly look at it manually, to understand that manually. But web scraping is probably underutilized skill. Definitely it's underutilized as of now. On whatever, but still it is very well utilized. It is very well, not well utilized. It's still used in many places, but even then it's underutilized, means there is a lot of scope for web scraping in future. I mean, scope in the sense need. I would say there's a lot of need for web scraping in future. If you want to do some search and say somebody is saying the truth and somebody is saying the false, but some people, what is everybody saying? You know, what are the results? What is lot of Google search results are based on this, I would say. So, and this is for that purpose we need to have two libraries, request and beautiful soup. Okay, and I'm using NumPy as well. Like, you know, this doesn't really require NumPy, so it's fine. Request and beautiful soup will be required. So the request is basically to request to make a call to get the data from a web service, from a URL, and then the beautiful soup converts the source, the HTML source of that whatever is there in the web page. Web pages will have HTML based content, right? Ultimately, they'll be rendered there like that, right? So it will convert that. It will try to read that, and you can convert it. You can actually give the structure for that. So from that you can find out. So I'm going to open a Wikipedia page here. You see this page, it is Shimoga, about the district Shimoga. And it has some, what does it contain? It has some content, it has some information here and all this. It has state, country, district, region, etc. As you go down, what you see here is basically climatic data for Shimoga from this much time. Okay. Now, let's say you want to do some kind of a, you've been asked to analyze the climatic condition in Karnataka state or all over India or wherever it is. Okay, whichever place, but at a high level. Now, you know, there are multiple, this information is available here. You don't have, it's a project and you don't have the direct access to that particular source or something like that, but you see this available here and you want to use this. You want to use this table, you can't copy it, you can't, you can't do this. Let's take one more thing. This is the Wikipedia page of Hassan. This is another district in Karnataka, right? I'm just taking this example. This also has similar information, some information here, some picture here, and then some web map, everything. Do you see this? This also has the same information, the climatic condition in Hassan. This also has, like Shimoga, it also has. So if you take to different district, whichever place it is, no, it is likely to have. It is likely to have this information. Now, you see that, okay, if you're supposed to analyze the climatic data of the different districts in Karnataka, then how many of our districts are there? Will we go and copy? No. But if all of this data comes into an Excel format or so, something in a neat readable format, isn't it easy for us? Isn't it? That will become, then we can convert that into a data frame and then start analyzing, isn't it? By state. That's what we would want to do. That will reduce a lot of time for us. So now let's see in this very simple example, how this data, which is present in this website for the case of Shimoga, that is this data we have taken as an example here, is converted into a data frame itself. I'll show that here. my file. This one. Web scraping example. Okay, all right here. So you can see, so I've taken this website. Then beautiful soup. I call the beautiful soup method. It's a library. You have to import that library from BS4. It's present at the BS4 library, and it is you are present importing this. And you call from the response the request dot get. So I print this. If I print this, what will happen? Let us see. It will contain URL is this. This is a URL, right? Okay, I need to print the soup. Beautiful soup response. I'm going to put it here for the time being. Okay, it will be very difficult to read. See here, if you do, what is this basically? If you open that page and do a view, right click and do a view source, you will see this. You'll see this is law. It's such a big thing, but somewhere inside this the table is there. Somewhere inside this the table is there. We have to look at a high level. If you go through it, you will be able to see. If you at a high level, you will be able to see where the data that table is coming from, and you can see here how we are taking that content. Okay, take table. This is basically the second table entity in that particular page, because you have two tables. If you look at this page, there are actually two tables. One is this table. First one, this is one table. This is one table, right? This is one table. This is the second table here. So go again. This one. Yeah. So from here, now this is the table. We have taken the second table. Day of 1. The index is 1, so that's the second table. From it will take all the tables. This one is actually, if you take table, if you print this table, you will be able to see the first table also. Like for the time being, I'm going to show that a little bit as well. You can see a lot of information here. You can see that lion picture. Then you will see the diagram, the table which is there, right, including the diagrams and all that. Okay. Then you will see something latitude, longitude, whatever was there in the right hand side, isn't it? All that is showing up. You can see elevation. What was all that was showing the population, everything. It is showing that table as well. The next table is this is the next table which we want. This is one table is over. Next table starting here, right? Climate data for Shimoga. So here we are taking the second table. We are not interested in the first table. We are taking the second table, the next one. For each, I'm taking that here. I will now hide this. So now here you see all the data has come, right? Each row, I have printed each row. You can see, yeah, it's printing that information here, right? Yeah. Now, basically, you can see we are printing, yeah, the DF1. I'll print the DF1. It's only printed here. Only one table is printed here. But what you can see here is that basically the last row is very long, so it does not come in the same page. But it actually it's basically the same data frame itself. The total whole thing. If you see this, it means there's a continuation in the row itself. So 0th index. This means first row. This is the first column heading. This is the its continuation. That doesn't have a heading as such, right? Then January, February, March, write it like this. Now we can convert the same thing into a file. The same thing has been converted into a file. Yeah. Yeah, this is the file that it has been converted. I think you were not able to see it. I'll share it. I'll stop sharing and reshare it. One. Yeah, okay, I'll share this file now. So do you see this, that, okay, we were not able to see the Shimoga website, is it? I'm not sure. Or were you able to see?
We were able to see Tripura. Yes.
Okay, all right. So you can see that table is now come into an Excel file. The CSV file, we have exported that into CSV file. Okay, this is the same CSV file which was used there to show the file content, and then we dropped the last row, if you remember it right. Right? Heading 0, 1, 2, 3, that was how the rows were when we read this file. Basically, what was done is I did the web scraping first, then I did the file handling. So I took the same file as export, which is done from the web scraping exercise. Whatever is the output of this is a Shimoga file. Then this I had taken as input for that other the file handling CSV extract, where we removed the last row and all that, right? So you can see this here. So that isn't it very, I mean, according to, I like this very much, and it's a very good tool or feature to actually do, to analyze what is already there in the web, internet open, available for use, but it's difficult for us to take from each and every website. It's manually not possible, isn't it? So this is about web scraping. Yeah, I think in the future sessions you will be learning about machine learning and data visualization and all. But I try to cover some basics of Python and sample exercise of how to work with a Python data frame and perform some analysis. Okay. So any questions, or you want to take the questions, or you have any other expectations, you can let me know. I'll stop sharing my screen here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tripura. It was indeed an amazing session, and you really took us through all the details and really explained very well, along with examples and all the practical aspects. So yeah, so I just want to ask all the students and the interns, if you have any doubt, any queries, please feel free, and please you can ask Tripura ma'am. So yeah. One person has asked, Adib, what is the maximum data set limit we can use when importing a data set?
It depends on the, see, when we work with data types tools, right? They work with millions of records. So, but depending, yes, open source tools are generally lower than that. That's why we have big data tools, right? So big data tools are specifically for millions and trillions of records. So it depends on the size of the data set that is applicable. It depends on the tool itself, not on the technology here. Okay, so it depends on the capacity of the tool which you are using for the analysis. And okay, definitely it is so huge. We can definitely say it's very huge. Yeah, that's why, like, we have Hadoop and all, which can take too much. I mean, I can't even imagine such a higher terabytes of data and all that it can take. It can take. That is, yeah. I think it's, you can say it's limitless as of now. The limitless in the sense it's too much of a tools can support too much of data. Different tools can support different sets, but the tools are available that support the amount of data that we can't even imagine at this point of time. It's like that. I mean, because every level of data has the capacity. It depends on the tool itself. I mean, that I do not know by tool, which tool supports what volume of data, but I can definitely say each tool supports a huge volume of data. And I personally, I have used Python, the same Python in my local environment itself, whichever I'm using here, to handle something like, I will say, 500,000 records per day for about a year. You can just multiply it. So almost like 365 divided by 2 amount of millions of records you can. That I have done with my own in the same thing I have done.
All right. Thank you so much, Tripura. Another person, Rishabh has asked for web scraping resource. Would you please recommend some resources or any course to pursue it further to learn about it?
See, actually, it's web scraping. Basically, I would say there are open source free sample projects actually available. Also, projects are also available for free. You can take up some projects actually, and even in Udemy, you have a lot of courses for it. And there are certain Udemy courses which will help you with, there are courses which will tell you 120 projects you can do within a specific period of time. They will give about 120 projects, and that means a small section of a bigger project probably, but still there might be real-time projects as well. So you might get that experience. You can try those, but not specific. That is, they will be there for all. Web scraping specifically, see, internet itself, you can search in YouTube itself, you will definitely be able to get. I actually have some my own ambitions about, okay, if I have the time, I would probably do this kind of a web scraping activity and do this kind of analysis. I have my own thoughts about it. Only thing is an issue of time, I would say. But yeah, just check on the internet itself. That will be YouTube itself has lots on this. Coursera has one of the courses, but that's also a basic one. That's all of data science. So web scraping comes as part of that.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Unnati Mishra has asked how to deal with missing data in categorical data column.
Good question, actually. So, but one thing is in categorical data, what you will have to do is you will have to relate. If the number, see how do we generally deal with missing data? In the sample that we had taken, I did not force in any value internally. Like I just removed the records where there is missing data, isn't it? That is okay or acceptable when the number of or the size of the missing data is very less compared to the other volume of the valid data. So I had, out of some 5,500 records, hardly 10 records probably had missing data. 10 to 15 records had missing data, which is acceptable. But when that is not the case, sometimes in the case of category, we have to normalize them. Okay, and you can normalize them, and then you can add in the appropriate value depending on some other variable. You can add and take an average value. Also, see, when it's categorical variables, you have to normalize it. You have to convert them into a specific numerical representation, which will or you have to map them with other parameters, and you should make them in a way that it represents numerical quantity. You have to convert it that way. Then based on that, you will be able to arrive at a approximate value, more appropriate value, which you can actually force into the particular record as a replacement.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much. Rishi has asked that people who are from non-technical backgrounds, what kind of job roles they can target data science or business analytics in these fields. So yeah, so would you please would you like to throw some light on this question?
Non-technical backgrounds, in the sense, what is your background, Rishi?
It's BCom.
Okay, you're saying that means computer science based, I think that's fine. See, in that case, analysis is very, you can take up the role of business analysis or business analyst, business, and I am actually a business analyst, and I do data analysis as part of that. As it's like they're all associated to each other. You might have heard this in many of the videos, sessions, that what is the difference between this role, each of these roles: business analyst, data analysis, data scientist, data engineer. These are all different roles which comes along, right? So as a commerce student or graduate, or whoever, in your case, like, you can consider that business analyst role probably can be very helpful to you, where you know the domain very well. Okay, and how you apply these skills in that domain. So you will know what parameters should you, what data should be considered. Probably the analysis part of it will come, and that's also not very complex in it. People can learn it, that's fine. But the preliminary step of understanding the need, the data that is relevant to it, what needs to be done, and trying to work with the data itself, to analyze the data, whether even if you are really performing the data analysis or not, to identify whether the data that is being used is correct or not. For example, taking a very simple example right here in our case, to consider that a value of 0 for a price is an incorrect value. That knowledge, that is a very basic knowledge that is required for this analysis. This is a very simple example, but when you go in for complex logics, complex projects where you have to do a lot of analysis, very deep, in-depth business understanding is required. There, you may be able to help, and for that also analysis is required. You might for that also, as a business analyst, you will be able to in the commercial, whatever commerce background you might have, so you can use it. Some of the common roles, I would say, is like sales analysts. Okay, I'm not really from a commerce background, so probably I may not be able to exactly tell, but this is a very top job, I would say. Analysis of the sales, prediction of the volumes, in industry, how much, what will be the volume of the sales that will be done, that will be there in the it's called forecasting. How much will be the sales in the next month? So companies have to prepare that, right? So these kind of roles will be more suitable in this case. If you are coming from a commerce background, so probably you will know some of the financial aspects of it. How much will be the sales? How much profit the company can make, and so on. Probably, I'm assuming. So in that case, what should be the expected? How do people set targets then? No, people don't everybody has targets. If you look at any company, they will give you a target. You have to increase the income profits by this much. You have to increase the profit margin by this percentage. Your sales has to increase by every salesperson, everybody working in the management level, especially. I would not say programmers probably, but at a higher level, when you go into a slightly higher level into management, right? They get targets and numbers. You have to increase the sales business this much by this much percentage in terms of money, financial values. That's how it will be, right? How did they come up these targeted values? They predict by doing this analysis, and that for this, a person from commerce background might be more suitable with some financial, along with some financial background as well, knowledge as well. Yeah, that is where I think. That's what I think. Yeah. But yeah, okay.
All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Tripura. It was indeed a very insightful session and detailed and wonderful session. So thank you so much for making time and taking this up and giving your time and making it possible for an amazing session. Yeah. So thanks a lot for taking part. Thank you. Thanks to all the interns for listening. And I am sure you would have learned, everything, the basics of Python and data analysis today. So yeah. Also, I just request my team to please share all the important links with all the students, the attendance form. Can you please, Anvesha, can you please share attendance form link? So I request all the interns to please ensure that you are only the team leaders, only the spokes, please share, fill out those attendance forms on behalf of your teammates. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anjali, for giving this opportunity. Yeah, it was an experience for me as well, and it was a good experience and interacting with students. So the best thing is, students have a lot of questions. They're very curious and they, whether they learn more beyond what is there in their curriculum, and they are very. So I think they are much more forward. I think so. It's very good to interact with them. The kind of questions they ask, that they are very valid and meaningful. So it's good. And yeah, I thank IBM SkillsBuild for CSRBOX for giving me this option.
Yeah.
And thank you everyone for your time and patience.
Yeah, it was our pleasure. Thank you so much, Tripura.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, for those students who are asking other questions related to internship, so we have already shared, we are sharing once again. Anvesha, can you please share the link? You can check in the chat box. We have already shared the attendance form link just now. Anvesha has shared. And also, we are also sharing, we have shared the important links and resources document with you. A lot of you have questions which can easily be resolved by just going through those important, just that one document where we have put all the important links related to this internship. So a lot of you are also reaching out to us personally, and it is due to overwhelming responses and texts and messages and emails. We are not able to respond to every student or every intern. So please ensure that you are going through that important links and resources of data analytics internship document, which has already been shared in the group. Team leaders, please ensure you are sharing it with your teammates. The last date is tomorrow to submit your concept note, as well as to complete your learning plan on data analytics. We have made changes, we have updated the learning plan, and some of you are asking about the project. So you have the liberty to choose the topic, you have the liberty to decide. A concept note is just an abstract of what you are going to do exactly, and any application, any data analytics related application, and how you're going to use it. And then also you need to just give us an abstract through concept note, which will be 1 or 2 pager, and then you need to work on that, which will be later on, where you have to present a PPT along with the screenshots of your application. We will do it later. So for now, tomorrow is the last day. I encourage all of you to please ensure that you are finishing the learning plan on IBM SkillsBuild platform on data analytics. And yeah, so tomorrow, and so then only you will be eligible for mentoring opportunities, as well as placement and internship opportunities, which will be under another program called Jeevitam. So please ensure that all of you are doing that if you want to be eligible for placements and mentoring opportunities, which will again be taken up by IBM employees and also other industrial experts. So please ensure you are doing that. So you can choose your own topics. Yeah. And you can submit your certificates in various, you can submit it in any form, either PDF or image. So that is not an issue. Yes, you have to make a model for your project later on. Yeah. For now, tomorrow is 10th of July, and you have to submit your concept note and learning app and completion certificate. Yes, you can choose the same topics as well. In the end, we will share once again in the chat box all important links. I'll just now share all the important links in the groups as well. Team leaders, please ensure you are sharing it with your teammates. Please don't miss out on that. So yeah, we'll just share everything, even the important links which were shared by Tripura ma'am, we are sharing in the group. So yes, so you can share, you can find it there. And please first, I repeat it once again, please ensure you are first going through the important links and resources document of data analytics internship. And then if your query is not resolved, then you can ask us. We will be happy to answer, but ensure that you are first going through that, because most of your queries will easily be answered there itself. We have put all the important links there.
Ma'am,
And yes, please. Yes.
I had a question about learning plan.
Yes.
That in first masterclass, you said that if organization is showing some other organization name, you said to
Yes.
create new mail ID and do all the courses. You have said no, ma'am.
Yes.
I
Yes.
have created new mail ID and I have done courses there itself. Again, your team have kept message that if it is showing another organization also, it is okay. You said no, ma'am. Now, which certificate is required in old mail IDs or new mail ID?
Have you done on both the email IDs?
Yes, ma'am.
Then in that case, give us the certificate with which you have done, like where you were receiving the organization name as CSRBOX, not any other name. In
Then,
other case, yes, please.
then what about the mail ID in your database, ma'am?
Yeah, so give us only that email ID. We have asked the email ID once again. So give us that email ID, okay? Which you
Okay,
have
ma'am.
used for the new, like, which was not used earlier.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Yes.
Ma'am, regarding project, ma'am, what exactly we have to present in presentation?
So for example, if you're working on some application, for example, you are working on COVID prediction model,
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
and you have used some algorithm, you have also worked on data, you have worked on Excel as well, you have applied some algorithms of machine learning, and then you have to, whatever you have worked through Python, you just need to present us, and also data visualization, what all you have used, like any bar chart, any any pie chart, any graph. You need to take those screenshots, put it in the PPT and present it to us in the last week.
So, ma'am, can we do something like, for example, if my project has various steps, so I can make PPT along with the steps.
Yes, you can.
Each step has a one slide.
Yes, you can do that. Definitely, you can do that.
Okay, and basically, code snippets and screenshots are enough.
Yes, they are enough. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Yeah. Anyone else? Yes.
Ma'am, regarding the concept note, we have to just put the concept note in PDF format, right?
Yes.
And the PPT regarding that, after the concept notes are selected, then only we have to prepare the PPT.
So PPT, yes. So if you are finishing the learning plan and the concept note, later on in the 6th week, we will ask you to submit your PPTs. Then we will shortlist, and then we will, out of those, we will shortlist only 8 to 10 people to actually present it on the pitch night, final day, and then 8 to 9 teams. So yes, so you will get an opportunity. That shortlisting will happen in the end, not now.
So we have to just prepare the concept note, right? Not the PPT right now.
Till tomorrow, you have to focus on concept note and finishing the learning plan. And then you can start working on the PPT as well, on your project as well. We need working models as well. So the best we will take the working models as well.
Ma'am, and the sample concept note, in that the data source which was used, it was Kaggle. So
Yes.
I referred to the source, but in that source, the data sets which were there, I referred to various ones. There was a section of coding, like the code section. But
Yes.
like, ma'am, my group, we don't have any information regarding any coding and like that. So like,
Okay.
how should we prepare for that?
So in that case, maybe you can start with the basics of Python, right? Like how we are teaching here, right? So you can just pick up those concepts and then try to apply it to your project, okay? The topic that you have chosen, and we will take that into consideration, even if you are from non-technical background. So don't worry about that.
So coding is compulsory in the concept note.
So we are also giving you the liberty if you want to use any other programming language. Okay, if you don't want to use Python, if you want to use any other programming language also, you can use it. So we don't want to impose it on you. So yeah, you can do that if you know any other programming language. Yeah.
Thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, what is the role of pitching night and the certificate we get at the end of the internship program?
So then if the yeah, so once you will be eligible for the pitch night, then we will shortlist the best team. So the top 3 teams will get an award prize, and also a chance to be part of IBM's annual meet, which happens in, we will have an annual meet in October. So you will also get an opportunity, and it will be sponsored by IBM. You can take part in that in Delhi.
That's regarding the additional perks the selected group
Yes.
will get.
Yes. And if you finish the learning plan and the concept note, then those who are finishing will be eligible for mentoring allocation, which will again be by IBM employees as well as other industrial experts, as well as for placements and internship opportunities.
Ma'am, so what is the specific?
We will take your resumes as well in like next week or next to next week. Those who are finishing the learning plan. Yes.
Okay. Those who are finishing the learning plan have to upload their resumes as well.
No, not now. We will ask you separately. Not now.
Okay.
Yes.
So, ma'am, what is the specific criteria for opting for the certificate only if we want certificate?
I did not get it.
Ma'am, I mean to say, what is the specific criteria for certificate? That was regarding the additional opportunities and benefits we'll get.
Okay. Yes. So like, for example, whether you are winning or you are not winning, are you going to get the certificate, right? Are you asking this question?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. If you are till the end, if you are submitting your PPT, and if you have done your learning plan, if you have done your concept note, whether you win or you don't win, we are going to issue the certificate of internship to all of those students.
Okay.
Yeah. In which link we are supposed to put our new email after changing it for the courses? So we have recently shared, I have recently shared a link where a lot of you have asked, I want to add new member, I want to remove old member. That is why we are taking final registration of all the teams. Whether you have earlier registered or not, we have opened the registration once again. It is only for those who are part of it, or even if like they have attended it, but they have not registered it earlier, even if they are new members, we have allowed them to register with a team. In a team, maximum 2 people can be part, like minimum 2, and a single person cannot take part. You need to fill that application form. I request Anvesha to share all the important links. Yes, yes, you can choose the final concept note topic for your final PPT. If you have completed your learning plan, but still you are not getting the certificate, you will get it soon. If in case you don't get it, just you will get all the 3 check marks, right? Like initially it will show you 3 things. So even if you're getting all those 3 in green color, please give a screenshot of that.
Ma'am?
Yes. Yes, please go ahead. Yes, of course. Concept note and final PPT topic should be same. If in case you meet across any issue, you send us an email, we will let you know.
Ma'am, and in the sample concept note, the source of it was Kaggle, but is it compulsory to just use the same source, or any other source is also okay?
You can use any other source. Unnati, you can use Power BI as well. If you are from non-tech background, you can use Tableau as well if you know it. Yeah. Anyone else?
Ma'am? Hello?
Yes.
Ma'am, so can we make a project without any code?
Without any code, you have to use some application and some programming language as a part of it.
So we were thinking about using Power BI.
Yes, you can use
That
it.
doesn't involve any code, that's why.
Yeah, you can use it. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. But we would encourage you to use Python. We would encourage you to use algorithms. And because we are teaching you that, right, in all the master classes. So it would be good if you learn it and implement it. Yeah, all right. Will we get the, yes, you will get the mentors if you submit the concept note. Whether your concept note is great, is bad, or is okay, in every case, you are going to get mentor. Don't worry about that. First, you finish the learning plan and submit your concept note. All right. I think all the questions are now repeating. Yes.
Ma'am, this is the second last masterclass. After that, we have a last masterclass, I think.
So usually what we used to have only 3 master classes, but now we have actually thought about it, and we have decided that we are going to have more master classes for the benefit of interns. So next week on 14th, most probably, or on Friday next week, we will have another master class, which will be master class 4, and after that we will have that will be master class 4, yes, and then we will have one more master class after that. We will have one more masterclass which will be masterclass 5 next week, preceding week. Mostly it will be 21st, next Friday. Mostly it will be on Fridays every week. And then we will have, if any of you are interested to learn design thinking in that same week, that masterclass is optional. You can attend that. Otherwise, you need to attend this. You need to attend the master classes, especially of data analytics. Yes.
So, ma'am, 2 masterclasses are basically left for data
2
analytics.
master classes. Yes, you are right. Yes. Yes. Next week and then next to next week. So please ensure all of you are finishing your learning plan by tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day, 10th of July. And all of you are also submitting your completion certificate. And please ensure you all are registering again. All the team, it is compulsory if you want the final certificate of internship. Please ensure you are registered with all the team members' details. Please ensure you are doing that. Yeah. Any other question? Otherwise, we are ending the call. Where do we have to submit our completion certificate? Yes. And Vesha, can you please share all the links once again? Yeah. Please don't flood the chat box. We are sharing it once again. Let everyone get access to those links. Yeah. The last, yeah. Anvesha? Yeah. We have just shared it. All the, yeah. Yes, who was that? All right, we have shared. I have already told the topic for concept note and final PPT needs to be same. If in case you come across any issue, send us an email. We will let you know. First, submit your concept note, and then you can. We already shared that you need to put this. We will give you a sample PPT as well. Please don't worry about that. We will share a sample PPT as well. All right. Any other question? Otherwise, please check WhatsApp groups. Team leaders, please share every message with your team members. We have already shared all the important links in the group and the link for today's masterclass. And yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, our team leader is not in the main group. So could you please join her in?
So can you please, I can't join every team leader. So what you can do is, here we have shared for all important links document in which there is WhatsApp group link. Ask your team leader to join from that link. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. That is why we are saying, please, before asking any question, open this document, all important links document. Open this document. If your question is not addressed, then come to us. Yes.
Ma'am, but I'm still not getting about the coding part. For our concept note, we have taken a topic, but for that we have used references like maybe Google and some other references.
Okay.
So because I have no background regarding coding, like nothing.
Okay. All right. What is your background and what's your name?
I am Aditya Kulkarni and I'm from BMS Finance stream.
finance stream. That's okay. So what you can do is, like some of the students are those who are from non-technical background, they are using Power BI, right? They're using another application. I'm sure in your college, you also must be learning. You can use data visualization tools as well, like Tableau and all. Yeah. So you can use those tools. You can use those programming language, which you know, and then present your data. Yeah.
Will Google and all do?
I am sorry.
The Google, like we have used Google and various other sites to remove information.
Yes, we will allow you, but we would also need something, some model in place, your application in place on data analytics, as an example. It might not be full-fledged working application, that is totally all right. But at least some part of it. It might not be perfect, that's okay, even if it's not perfect. Maybe you have done that like 40%, 60%, you were not able to do 100%, that's okay.
Ma'am, can we get some info about pitch night?
So we will share about pitch night next week. So in pitch night, after submitting your concept note, finally, we will ask you to submit your final PPTs with the screenshot of your working models or application that you worked on. Okay. Like for example, if you worked on, like I always give this example, COVID prediction model, you might have used some data set. Okay. You might have used some Python coding. You need to give those, or data visualization. Like for example, you use some bar charts or pie or graphs. Give the screenshot of those in the PPT.
Ma'am,
yes.
Ma'am, can we use some imaginary data sets, or we have to take the real data sets of the companies?
You can take any data set. You have the liberty to choose. Okay, yeah. So these questions: what topic to take, which data set to take, what project to work on, which application to take, which coding to take. We have given you all the full liberty. We are not going to tell it, you take only this, you don't take this. Okay. So you can decide the topic, you can choose the language, you can, choose the data set that you want to use based on your topic and stick to that. So you have full liberty.
So, ma'am, on the pitch night, whole team has supposed to give the presentation, or the spook will be doing on the behalf of
team can decide who will give the presentation.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Do we have to submit the completion certificate of all the team members?
Yes, you have to.
And yes. How, like everyone's completion certificate PDFs?
Yes.
Or we have to collect all the PDF, all the certificate in one PDF?
No, everyone's is separate.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Yeah. Anyone else? All right. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for taking part in today's masterclass. I hope this was an insightful session for all of you. I just encourage all of you to finish your learning plan. And I hope all of you made notes of today's masterclass. I found it very good, very insightful, very detailed, amazing session. So please make use of these sessions. They're not taught by someone who doesn't know the subject. They know their subject well. They're taught by industrial experts. They're taught by professors. So please attend next 2 weeks master classes. Be attentive in these sessions and make the most of these remaining 2 master classes and finish your learning plan so that you will be eligible for mentoring and placement opportunities. And you will also get your final certificate also of internship. Thank you, everyone. I encourage you all to keep learning. Yeah, thank you so much for participating in today's session. I'll close the session now. Thank you also to my team and Vesha for being active and responding to the queries. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Yeah, I'll close the call now.
Thank you, ma'am.